Is set down for second reading next sitting day. I call on Government Orders of the Day, numbers 2 to 4.
Local Government Act 2002 Amendment Bill number 3, Committee Stage. Veterans Support Bill, Committee Stage. Taxation Annual Rates, Employee Allowances and Remedial Matters Bill, Committee Stage.
I declare the House in committee for consideration of the Local Government Act 2002 Amendment Bill number 3, the Veterans Support Bill and the Taxation Annual Rates, Employee Allowances and Remedial Matters Bill. Mr Chairman.
Mr Speaker.
Mr Chairman.
Mr Chair.
Talofa lava, kia ora tātou no reira te whare, inga iwi, inga reo, inga hawe wha tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Good afternoon, honourable members. We are in committee for consideration of the Local Government Act 2002 Amendment Bill number 3, the Veterans Support Bill, and the Taxation Annual Rates, Employee Allowances and Remedial Matters Bill. Members, we turn first to the Local Government Act 2002 Amendment Bill number 3, and the question before the committee is that Part 1 stand part.
Chair.
I call the Honourable Minister, Pasata Sam Lotu-Iiga. Talofa lava.
Talofa lava, Mr Chairman. Mr Chairman, it's a privilege to speak on this, the committee stage of the Local Government Amendment Bill, sir. And this bill is about encouraging and facilitating improvements in how local government operates, sir. It builds on the government's business growth agenda to build a more competitive and a more productive economy. And sir, it's about improving housing affordability, which is such a big issue across this country, and in particular in Auckland, where I reside, but also in places like Christchurch, Queenstown and other centres across our country. So, Mr Speaker, this amendment bill really is about making amendments to the development contributions regime that has been in place since 2002, when the Labor government put this regime in place. And sir, it's quite clear under this, under the definition of the Local Government Act, that development contributions can be spent on capital expenditure for infrastructure as a result of growth. As a result of growth. It is not to be spent for non-growth projects or maintenance or operation. It's not to be double charged to developers for pet projects. And so, sir, what we've got over time has been an exploitation of that regime, where examples like a timber processing mill in the South Island was charged $400,000 when all the infrastructure, the pipes, the sewage was already in place, and development contributions were charged $400,000. And sir, that is a tax on jobs. That is a tax on the economy. That is a tax on hard-working New Zealanders. And sir, this bill is designed and is framed in such a way that this type of charging of development contributions cannot occur. More recently, sir, in terms of residential development, in Christchurch, and the Honourable Amy Adams will know this, in Christchurch recently there was 2 apartments that were charged $72,000 development contributions for 2 apartments, sir, in Sumner. And sir, that is just unrealistic. It's housing affordability shot, as the Honourable Minister's just said, and it is really driving up prices around this country. So our government, this national government, has taken to refining this statute, the Local Government Act, in order that we can get more appropriate charging, that we can improve fairness and transparency around development contributions, so that housing affordability improves across the country. And we urge parties across this chamber to support this bill. So, Sir, we can still charge development contributions on reserves infrastructure, on network infrastructure. Of course, these are the essentials, not the nice-to-haves. These are the essentials. Water, wastewater, stormwater, transport infrastructure is critical. Community infrastructure in the Select Committee was looked at quite intently. But in our view, and certainly in my view, limiting the community infrastructure to halls, community centres, toilets and play equipment is wholly appropriate. And again, sir, it is because we are trying to drive down the costs of new homes. And I urge Mr Twyford to support us. I urge Mr Twyford to support this bill, and I see he's changed his mind on it. I see he's changed his mind on the bill. And I'm glad because by limiting community infrastructure, the definition, we are going to save, on average, across this country, between $3,000 and $3,500 per section. $3,000 and $3,500. And so, sir, this bill is very much welcome in Maungakeke, in my own electorate. It's very much welcome in Mangere, Mr Seal's electorate. It will be welcome in Te Aratu, which will be Mr Nuttall's electorate, or Mr Bridges' electorate. Sir, Mr Chair.
The Honourable Minister, Sam Lotu-Iiga.
And it means that councils cannot provide these community infrastructure from other sources. Sir, Clause 60 of the bill also deals with development agreements. And that's about encouraging councils and developers to work together. And they can work together on alternative infrastructure provision arrangements. And if you talk to developers out in the communities, some of them are saying we can build that infrastructure for less than what the council can build that infrastructure. And if they can do that, sir, why not? Why can't you have a developer agreement that allows a developer to get on with building new homes, to get on with building new plants, new warehouses, where they are able to go on and do the development with that infrastructure. An example of this, sir, is in Hobsonville, where developers have said we can do this cheaper than the local government, cheaper than council, and they went on and did it. Sir, if I could just finally, in my opening remarks, just talk about the objection process. And that is about greater natural justice. It's about having independent commissioners who are experts in their field, who can adjudicate on an objections process in an objective way. It's about these commissioners bringing about timely decisions that are cost effective, not just to councils but also to developers. And sir, it's again about this government showing leadership in terms of bringing costs down for development, about bringing about better housing affordability for our communities who are really demanding that we bring down the costs of construction. It's aligned with the measures that the Honourable Nick Smith mentioned earlier on today in his answers to parliamentary questions, which is about bringing about more supply of land to our communities through housing accords, but also about bringing down the costs of materials. And Mr Twyford might ask how that's going. Well, Mr Smith answered that we have now record consents, we've got record building in the Auckland City, and Mr Twyford should support that. And you see, Mr Twyford says if we're not doing enough, he says it's the market. If we're doing too much, he says, oh no, you're overextending yourselves. You're intervening too much. Well, I just encourage Mr Twyford to support this bill, because again, it's about bringing housing affordability to bear. It's good for New Zealanders, it's good for our communities, it's good for developers, and it's certainly good for local government. And we have the support of local government. Having spoken to a number of mayors this morning at the Local Government Central Government Forum, they were extremely happy about the bill. They were extremely supportive of what we've brought about this bill, and they were particularly impressed that we'd inserted transitional provisions in order that they can grandfather the current projects of assets that are already built going forward. So again, I say to members opposite, support this bill, support the pro-growth, pro-jobs, and the way that this government has gone about promoting jobs and growth in this economy. Thank you, Sue.
I call the Honourable Member Sua William Seo. Talofa lava, Mr. Seo.